Nikola Vucevic is entering unrestricted free agency this offseason, and the Chicago Bulls have already expressed interest in bringing him back. With many fans frustrated by Vucevic's inconsistency since the Bulls acquired him in 2021, let's take a look at his game, the upcoming available free agent options, and see what makes the most sense for the Bulls in the offseason. Thank you guys for checking out this video. If you enjoy it, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more. So, let's address the elephant in the room and start by talking about his struggles. We've known that Nikola Vucevic is not a great defender for years. It's just true. He's not really great at getting over to help at the rim. He's not a good rim protector. He plays a little bit flat-footed, a little bit slow to get over, and he sometimes is physically outmatched by larger centers down low. He's even been labeled soft for the way that he likes to avoid contact sometimes. I think that's a little bit harsh, but it is true that defense is not really his strength. Vooch is a highly skilled big man, but he still has trouble converting easy plays at the basket sometimes, or missing wide open three-pointers. He can be physically outmatched by larger centers, and when his shot isn't falling, sometimes Vooch can get frustrated and take cheap fouls and even technicals. He had 8 technicals this past season. While it may not be apparent, even when Vooch is struggling with his shot, he still manages to impact the game in positive ways. He started all 82 games for the Bulls in the 2022-2023 season, and his scoring, screen setting, passing, and rebounding were all extremely important for the Bulls to operate properly. Let's take a look at each of these areas of his game. Next up, with his scoring. Another thing fans have criticized Vooch for is not using his body to generate points in the post. I've collected some clips of him scoring from the post to show his variety of moves to get around or over his defenders. Vooch benefits from playmakers like Patrick Beverley and Coby White, and he also has good chemistry with Zach LaVine, being 2 of the longest standing teammates on the roster. While Vooch has had better seasons shooting the 3, this past year was the best 2-point shooting season of his career. He shot 59% on 2-pointers, averaging almost 10 shots from within the arc per game. This was also his best season by true shooting and effective field goal percentage. So we know Vooch has been establishing himself as more of an interior presence, but he's also still able to score from the pick and roll. He's a great screen setter, and his good hands give him the ability to handle passes and turn them into scores. This might be the most crucial part of his game, as this inside-outside ability is an engine for a lot of what the Bulls try to run offensively. Notice how most plays we're looking at here originate with Vooch screen action regardless of who the ball handler is. Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Coby White, etc. Vooch's ability to shoot from distance keeps defenses honest. It's just a matter of Vooch hitting those shots consistently. Even when his shot isn't falling, he usually makes the right read and gets the ball to the open man should they be available. That brings us into his passing. Vucevic isn't the greatest passer in the world, but he's definitely on the better end for a big man, and his chemistry with young players like Patrick Williams, Coby White, and Ayo Dosunmu has been a big boost in the development department for the team. Vuce also has that aforementioned chemistry with Zach LaVine, and they can get a nice two-man game going every now and then when the offense demands it. I'll get into DeMar DeRozan more in a later video, but I do think if the plan this offseason is to retain Vucevic, there needs to be more consistency with this offensive philosophy. Switching back and forth between the free-flowing playstyle that Zach and Vuce excel at and the slower pace that DeMar excels at has hurt this team. They lack a true offensive identity. We can see from the tape and by the numbers that Vuce is playing efficient basketball. It's on head coach Billy Donovan to put him and all the other players in positions to succeed. That brings us to Vucevic's rebounding, another important aspect of his contributions. Vuce was third in the NBA in double-doubles this past season with 52, and was second in the league in total rebounds with 903. It's clear that this part of his game should not be overlooked. Vucevic created 197 second chance points from his efforts, and his rebounding abilities combined with his passing abilities make him a threat to start fast breaks. The Bulls operate their best in transition, and when Vuce is locked in, he's a big part of that. Finally, let's take a look at his defense, and we've already talked about Vuce's struggles on that end in this video before, so I'm not going to be too long-winded in this aspect. I'm not here to defend his defense necessarily, but I do think it's important to understand what he is and isn't good at on the defensive end, because I think there's a bit of a myth out there about how bad of a defender he really is. I think some people are really harsh on Vuce when he's actually good at preventing shots from being created at the rim in the first place, even if he's not a great rim protector on his own. Vucevic is usually asked defensively to defend the paint by dropping on pick and rolls and protecting the paint using his body. He cuts off entry passes and sometimes gets blocks at the rim as a result. He's also usually in a good position to grab boards. Where Vuce struggles is when being backed down or asked to move off ball with more athletic 4s and 5s. He's actually not a bad direct isolation defender against other bigs just due to his size, but he's a matchup nightmare when the Bulls are forced to switch. Generally, they try to avoid this, thus the drop coverage, but when it does happen, Vuce's defensive flaws are displayed for all to see. So, we know about Vucevic's strengths and weaknesses. We also know what his role is for the Bulls. Let's take a look at the upcoming available free agent options at center this offseason to see who could replace, replicate, or surpass what Vucevic brings to the Bulls. Brook Lopez appears to be the only sure shot upgrade over Vucevic on this list, and it would take a lot to convince him to leave Milwaukee and choose Chicago. The Bulls would likely not have the money to be able to make that happen anyway. With that in mind, let's remember that Vuce was making $25 million per year on his previous contract. I don't expect him to get nearly that much this time around, but even $15 million per year would be a high price tag for a Bulls team with limited resources right now. Andre Drummond's status is up in the air as well, though I think it's fair to expect him to stick around next season. Poeltl is likely to re-sign in Toronto, and it's doubtful that the Bulls would want to pursue Christian Wood over Vuce at a similar price. Here's some other guys on the free agent list. No one really of starting caliber to replace Vooch. Some guys to watch for the years going forward, but really nobody here that screams starting caliber center. So, same story. The idea I'm getting at here is that there is no one player currently available at a reasonable price to replace what Nikola Vucevic currently brings to the Chicago Bulls. It does seem that the priority this offseason should be re-signing him, as we can see the alternative options are not nearly as appealing, and what Nikola Vucevic brings to the team in its current form is a key to their success. Vuce has his struggles and inconsistencies, but I do think a lot of that comes down to the way that the Bulls have tried to mesh two competing playstyles together on one roster. It's not really working, and if the Bulls want to be their most effective and their most efficient, they should be trying to build around that Zach and Vooch connection that seems to be working when the Bulls are playing their best basketball. And it's probably the best bet they're going to have without Lonzo Ball coming back. But thank you guys for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to hit that like button and make sure to subscribe for more. I've really appreciated all the love you've shown on these videos recently, so make sure to follow me on all those platforms. @ShySportsRoss is the handle. Thank you guys again, and we will talk very soon.